Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at something most of us probably find a bit, well, daunting. Mortality, final wishes.
Right. But we're doing it through the eyes of someone who tackled it with incredible wit and detail, the novelist Jilly Cooper.
Exactly. We've got these amazing sources where she lays out, really lays out everything she wants for her funeral. It's quite something.
It really is. It's more than just instructions, isn't it? It's like a final self-portrait, packed with her personality, her humor. We're going to unpack it all.
Yeah, our mission today is basically to follow her lead. We'll start with her bigger thoughts on death. Her fears, her hopes.
And then dive right into the nitty-gritty, the practical stuff, the sometimes hilarious specifics she requested for the actual event.
It's a real journey from the philosophical to the logistical, almost.
Exactly. It's a fascinating way to see someone craft their own final story, using planning almost as a way to maybe control the uncontrollable, and Yim does it with such style.
Okay, let's get into it. The detail is just wild. Down to needing a trouser suit.
Because of her legs, she's so upfront about it.
And specifying which dog gets carved on the headstone. It's pure Jilly Cooper, right to the very end.
So Cooper herself said she thought about death quite a lot. But interestingly, she added, it wasn't in a particularly terrified sort of way.
Right, more like aware it's coming.
Exactly, and it seems like this awareness, this thinking, really got focused after what she called a quadruple whammy.
Yeah, that sounds intense. What was that?
It was about 2 years before she detailed all this. Her mother died, her aunt died, and her two best dogs died. All pretty close together.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that would definitely concentrate the mind on mortality, wouldn't it? There's a huge amount of loss.
A huge amount. And it directly shaped her thoughts on how she wanted to go. For instance, her mother's death. She described it as brilliant and fast.
Which sounds, maybe ideal in some ways.
You'd think so, but Cooper actually regretted it a bit. She felt she didn't get the chance to say this or that. You know, those last little things.
Okay. The unfinished business feeling. That makes sense. So maybe that lack of closure fueled her own need to plan everything so meticulously, to make sure her farewell said everything.
I think that's a big part of it. And she wasn't just thinking in a vacuum. She drew on other writers, other ideas about death.
Like who?
Well, she mentioned Rose Macaulay, the novelist. Apparently, Macaulay had this sort of almost casual approach, supposedly saying something like, I'm thinking of pushing off this summer.
That's quite a way to put it. Very matter of fact.
It is, isn't it? A kind of graceful acceptance. But then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, she found C.S. Lewis's ideas absolutely terrifying. The image he painted of the dead sort of scrabbling at the door to the world, trying to get back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a much darker picture.
She called it appalling, that idea of being stuck, desperately wanting back into life. It really struck a nerve.
And she made it even more personal, didn't she? Didn't she have specific vision relating to her own mother?
She did. It's quite haunting, actually. She pictured her mother after death wearing her dressing gown with little corned feet.
Gosh.
Trying to get back and crying and crying. It's such a specific, heartbreaking image. It really shows her deep fear wasn't just oblivion, maybe, but this kind of panicked, incomplete separation.
So avoiding that feeling, that image, becomes the goal. A clean break. A peaceful release.
Precisely. Which leads her to what she definitely doesn't want. No prolonged decline, no pain, no dependency.
Right. She mentioned Alzheimer's specifically, didn't she? Referencing John Bailey's book about Iris Murdoch. That was clearly a big fear for her generation.
Absolutely. Alzheimer's, stroke, anything that would leave her, as she put it, so dependent on everybody. For someone so independent, so observant, losing that self-sufficiency, that seems to be the ultimate horror for her.
So she wants a quick, clean exit, but she also needed like a positive image, something to hold on to.
Yes, and she found this incredibly powerful metaphor, sort of unexpectedly, the day after her mother's funeral.
What happened?
Well, a big black bird got trapped inside the drawing room. It was panicking, bashing against the window, just frantic.
Oh, poor thing. Stressful.
Very. And then her husband, Leo, managed to gently catch it. He covered it completely with his hands and then just released it out the window.
And that clicked for her.
Instantly. She thought, that's how death should be. That terrifying moment, the panic, the bashing against the glass. But then these big, kind hands just cover you.
And suddenly you're free.
Exactly. Out of the window into a new life. It's such a beautiful reframing, isn't it? Acknowledging the fear, but focusing on the release, the transition.
It connects the panic with comfort almost.
Yeah.
The hands covering the bird.
Yes. The scary part is short. And the release is sudden and complete. It seems like that became her mental model for a good death.
So what about that new life? What did she actually hope heaven would be like?
Well, her vision is incredibly down-to-earth, actually, and very Jilly Cooper.
Dogs.
Dogs are central. Her main hope was arriving in heaven and seeing her dogs running across a sunlit lawn to greet her. Her family there, too, of course. But the dogs running. That's the primary image.
That sounds lovely. Simple, joyful, sun, grass, happy dogs.
It's not about golden gates or choirs of angels, really. It's about reunion, familiarity, and unconditional love. Canine love, especially.
But she did have one condition, didn't she?
Yeah.
About the guest list.
Ah, yes. The classic Cooper touch. She stated quite firmly that heaven ought to be cleansed of people one doesn't like very much.
Or
it wouldn't be heaven, would it?
Huh. Brilliant. So even in eternity, there needs to be a certain exclusivity, a well-curated guest list.
Pretty much. It's like the ultimate social boundary setting. For a writer who spent her life observing and sometimes skewering social dynamics, it makes perfect sense that her paradise involves editing out the riffraff.
It's a final bit of heavenly quality control. You've got to wonder who makes the cut and who doesn't.
You really do. It's a very funny, very honest admission that for her, eternal bliss requires good company and no bores.
Okay, so moving from the celestial guest list editing to the more earthly matters, the body itself, cremation versus burial.
Right, she made a very definite choice here. She'd gone off burial.
And not for the usual reasons, I gather. Not space or cost or anything like that.
Well, no, much more dramatic. It was apparently down to an awful survey she'd read.
A survey? About what?
Get this, a survey claiming that about 500 people a year in France climb out of their coffins.
Wait, what? Seriously, that sounds unlikely and incredibly specific. 500 people in France.
I know. It's such a perfect Jilly Cooper detail, isn't it? Finding this bizarre, probably spurious statistic and letting it dictate her final wishes. It's like something straight out of Rutger. The sheer horror mixed with absurdity.
So fear of premature burial, French edition, leads to cremation. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough, I suppose, if you believe the survey.
Exactly. And she had a plan for the ashes based on what she did for her mother.
Which was?
Well, she scattered most of her mother's ashes over a wildflower meadow. Lovely image, very natural. But she also buried a small amount in a proper grave with a headstone.
Oh, interesting. So a bit of both. Freedom and a focal point.
Seems like it. Scattering for release, but a marker for remembrance with specific details like a family crest and a rabbit on the stone. She wants to be remembered, clearly, but not confined underground, potentially plotting an escape.
Right. No coffin climbing necessary. Okay, now for the really fun part. The packing list for the coffin, her final outfit and accessories.
Yes, this is where it gets wonderfully specific and personal. First, the dress code. She wanted to look quite tidy.
Tidy, I like that. Not glamorous, just tidy.
And the specific garments, a bra and a trouser suit.
A trouser suit, any particular reason?
Yes, and she's very clear about it. Because of my legs.
Ah, oh, bless her. That's just so honest, isn't it? Even planning for the afterlife, there's that touch of very human self-consciousness. Practical, stylish, and addressing a personal hang-up.
It really is. It shows that personality, those little vanities, they don't just disappear. It's a final style statement.
Okay, so she's tidy in her trouser suit. What goes in with her?
Well, some lovely sentimental things first. A photograph of her husband Leo and their children. That's the heart of it.
Of course, the family anchor.
But then, the essentials for the journey. Champagne and chocolates.
Naturally. Wouldn't want to arrive unprepared. Got to have refreshments.
Absolutely vital. But the absolute star item, the pièce de résistance of the coffin inventory.
Go on.
A copy of Pope John Paul II's record.
That record. Right. Okay. Explain this for people who might not remember. This was a real thing, wasn't it? The Pope speaking over pop music.
Yes, a 1979 album called Pope John Paul II Sings at the Festival of Sacrosanct. It featured him speaking, praying over sort of contemporary, slightly cheesy musical backings. Cooper herself described it as hysterical.
Hysterical. So why include something she found funny?
Well, this is where the genius comes in. Her rationale was purely strategic. She saw as a terrific suck-up present.
A suck-up present? To who?
To either God or the devil when I got there.
Oh, my God, that's brilliant. Hedging her bets right to the very end, covering all bases.
Exactly. It's like cosmic insurance with a side of high camp. It shows she's approaching the whole heaven-hell thing with a healthy dose of skepticism and humor. If you have to meet the management, bring a gift, right? Even if it's a slightly silly one.
It perfectly undercuts any excessive solemnity. It's a final wink. Okay, that's amazing.
It really is. It just encapsulates her whole approach, serious planning combined with not taking herself or even the afterlife too seriously.
Before we move on from the corporeal arrangements, what about organ donation? Was that something she considered?
She did. She acknowledged she should be an organ donor. She even mentioned her Aunt Gwen, who apparently wanted to donate absolutely everything.
So noble intention there.
But
But then the Jilly Cooper realism kicked in. She conjured up this darkly comic image of her poor cousin having to tour hospitals in Yorkshire with a carrier bag full of Aunt Gwen's various organs. Oh no. The sheer logistical nightmare, the carrier bag.
Exactly. The overwhelming practicalities of such generosity just sort of deflated the high-minded ideal for her. It became absurd.
And did she offer anything herself in the end?
Well, she made a typically self-deprecating joke. Since they probably wouldn't need all her organs at her age, she quipped they could have my legs.
Let's face.
As an example of fat Yorkshire thighs.
Oh, Jilly. Perfect. Generous, funny, brutally honest about herself, all in one go. That image of the cousin with the carrier bag, though? That's going to stick with me.
It's pure narrative gold, isn't it? Turning a serious ethical question into a mini farce focusing on the awkward practicalities. Classic her.
Right, let's move on to the service itself, the main event. She clearly wanted this to be, well, not dull.
Definitely not dull. Dynamic, friendly, lively. Those seem to be the key words. A celebration, really, not just a solemn farewell.
And she was specific about who should lead it, wasn't she? 2 priests.
Yes, 2 key figures. First, Mr. Farrow, described as a darling from her village. He brings the local connection, the warmth, the familiarity.
Nice. Grounded.
And the second.
A great friend, Father Damien from Prinkdash Abbey.
Okay, and what was special about Father Damien? Why him specifically?
Well, according to Cooper, Father Damien had previously been in the record business.
The record business, of course. So he'd know how to put on a show.
That was exactly her thinking. He would really ginger things up. She wanted someone with a sense of pace, maybe even a bit of showbiz flair, to manage the proceedings.
She's basically casting her own funeral director for maximum energy. That's amazing.
It's like she's producing it, ensuring it has the right flow, the right impact. And that desire for impact is definitely reflected in the music choices. She wasn't aiming for subtle background music.
No, she called it a terrific din, didn't she?
She did. And the centerpiece of this din, well, it's ambitious. Mahler's Symphony of 1,000. All right, let's just pause on that. Mahler's 8th. That's huge. That's not something you can just rustle up with the local church choir.
Absolutely not. It's called the Symphony of 1,000 for a reason. It needs gigantic forces, huge orchestra, multiple choirs, extra brass sections, soloists. It's one of the largest scale choral works ever written.
So requesting that is basically requesting a full-blown, massive concert performance in a churchyard.
Pretty much. It's pure maximalism. It reflects the sort of epic scale and high drama you find in her own books. It's a statement piece.
And she didn't just want the piece, she wanted specific performers, right? Her pet orchestras.
Yes. This is such a lovely specific detail. She requested the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, the Royal Opera House Orchestra, and the Royal Scottish National Orchestra.
All 3 together.
Well, maybe not all playing Mahler 8 simultaneously. That might be tricky even for her. But she named them as her pet orchestras that helped with my recent novels.
So it's a thank you, a tribute to the institutions that fueled her work.
Exactly. It's this incredibly personal link between her creative life and her final farewell. She wants the musicians who inspired her Rutger sagas to be the ones making that terrific din in the churchyard at Bisley. It's weaving her life's passion directly into the fabric of her funeral.
That's actually really moving, beyond just the scale of it. Okay, so Mahler for the blockbuster moment. What else?
She wanted emotional depth, too. She requested the Lacrimosa from Verdi's Requiem.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. If you want tears, the Verdi Lacrimose will probably do it.
Yeah.
That's intensely sad music.
It really is. It means weeping day. So she's acknowledging the grief, providing that moment for pure sorrow, but then she pivots.
Oh, so.
With 2 pieces that offer a different feeling. First, the Good Friday music from Wagner's Parsifal.
Wagner. Okay, why that piece?
She chose it specifically for its symbols of rising from the dead. So it brings in hope, transformation, resurrection, moving beyond the sorrow of the Lacrimosa towards, well, the new life, she imagined.
A spiritual uplift, then? And the other piece?
Pure nostalgia. The theme music from Brideshead Revisited. The TV series music. Jeffrey Bergen's theme.
Presumably.
Yeah.
It evokes such a specific mood, doesn't it? That sense of Englishness, aristocracy, memory, longing. It fits perfectly with the world she often wrote about. A touch of elegant melancholy.
So the music is like a whole emotional journey. Massive scale, deep sorrow, spiritual hope, and finally, this nostalgic reflection. It really is a production.
Absolutely. Carefully curated for maximum impact, drawing on her personal history and her understanding of how music works on the emotions.
Okay, music sorted. What about readings? Words to go with the din.
Equally well chosen, each with a specific job to do. 3 poems.
First one.
A poem by W. Henley. She highlighted the ending lines. So be my passing, my task accomplished and the long day done. My wages taken, and in my heart, some late lark singing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Very peaceful.
She admitted it makes me cry. It's the job well done poem, isn't it? Reflecting on a full life, finding peace at the end. That image of the lark. It connects back to the bird theme, too.
Yeah, it does. So that's for the general sense of closure and emotion. I think so. Then the second poem is much more targeted, Byron's. So we'll go No More O Roving.
And who is that one for?
Specifically designated for all our drinking mates.
Perfect. Acknowledging the partners in crime, the good times. That poem has that bittersweet feel, doesn't it? Looking back on wilder days.
Exactly. It's a nod to friendship, fun, maybe a bit of shared misbehavior. Very honest about what mattered to her.
Love it. And the third poem?
Christina Rossetti, including the famous lines, When I am dead, my dearest, sing no sad songs for me.
The instruction. Don't mourn, basically.
Pretty much. It's the stoic farewell. Look forward, remember the good times, don't dwell on sadness. It's like she's trying to manage the mood right to the end. First, have a good cry with Henley and Verdi, then raise a glass with Byron, and finally, buck up with Rossetti.
She's literally stage managing the emotions of the congregation from beyond the grave.
It certainly seems that way. A very thorough curator of her own farewell.
Okay, so the Mahler Symphony has faded, the tears have been wiped, the drinking mates have been acknowledged. Now it's time for the wake, the after party.
And for Jilly Cooper, this wasn't just an afterthought, was it? It was a crucial part of the plan.
Absolutely. Just as important as the service. She wanted a proper party held in her own garden in Gloucestershire, overlooking the valley.
The setting is key there, isn't it? Bringing it right back home to the landscape that's so central to her life and work. The ultimate Rutshire gathering.
Definitely. The final scene set in the most familiar location, although there was a little bit of discussion about the guest list size for this part.
Oh, what was the issue?
Well, apparently her son Felix had rather sweetly suggested maybe a smaller, more intimate gathering. He said something like he didn't want to have to share her with millions right at the end, which is quite touching.
That is touching. A desire for private grief.
But Cooper herself, she ultimately overruled him. She wanted the big party. She wanted everyone there spread out across the lawn. Ever the hostess. Inclusive, grand scale. Her life was pretty public, so it makes sense she wanted the farewell to be a big social event, too.
I think so. She knew her crowd, and her crowd was large and loved a good gathering. And this leads her into some very candid observations about, well, how people actually behave at funerals.
Oh, this should be good. What was your take?
She admitted her own pattern was always the same. Gossip, gossip, gossip. Oh, God, one mustn't speak ill of the dead. Gossip, gossip.
That is brutally honest and probably very accurate for a lot of people if they're being truthful. That slightly awkward mix of sadness and catching up.
Exactly. She totally gets that funerals are complex social occasions. People need to connect, to talk, and sometimes that spills over into gossip.
Yeah.
By admitting it, she almost gives her own guests permission to just be human. No judgment.
It's like she's saying, look, I know what you'll all be doing and it's okay. Very pragmatic.
Very. And because she anticipated the drinking and the gossiping, she recalled what she called the nicest funeral she'd ever attended. And it had a unique feature.
Which was, I feel like this involves animals again.
You're absolutely right. It involved a lot of wolfhounds.
Wolfhounds. At the funeral party. Why?
Well, according to Jilly, it was a frightfully good idea because every time somebody got drunk, they could lean against a large dog.
Oh my goodness, that is practical genius. Emotional support animals meets actual physical support for the tipsy mourner.
Isn't it just perfect? It combines her love of dogs with a brilliant, slightly eccentric solution to a common problem at wakes. The dogs are calming, they're conversation starters, and they're sturdy.
So the ideal funeral accessory is a large, patient dog you can use as a furry, four-legged leaning post.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
It's peak Jilly Cooper problem solving. Practical, animal-centric, and utterly memorable.
Okay, so we've got the party sorted, Garden setting, champagne flowing, gossip acceptable, wolfhounds on standby for stability. What about the very final step? The resting place, the marker.
Right, the final punctuation mark. She wanted to be buried near her dog's graveyard.
Of course, close to the other beloved family members.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense.
And the headstone itself, a slate one made by Roger Venables, featuring her dates, and, crucially, an engraving of her best dog, Barbara.
Barbara gets the prime spot, a final tribute to her most special companion.
So, the visuals are sorted. What about the words? The epitaph, that's always a tricky one.
Very tricky, and she clearly thought about it quite a bit. She even floated a humorous one for herself. Jilly wasn't quite so silly.
Yeah, that's quite good, actually, self-aware.
She thought so too initially, but then dismissed it as too trite. She wanted something with a bit more weight, perhaps, but still true to her.
Did she admire any other epitaphs?
Yes, she mentioned one for the explorer Alexander Lane. Something strong and genial and immensely kind has gone out of this world.
That's lovely. Very noble.
It is, but she immediately said it would not work for me because I'm not strong.
Wow. That's quite the self-assessment. Rejecting such a positive epitaph because she felt it wasn't entirely accurate, that takes real honesty.
Incredible honesty, isn't it? No posthumous polishing of the image. She valued accuracy over flattery, even on her own headstone. So what was her ideal then? If not strong and kind and not so silly, did she have a dream epitaph?
She did have a dream scene, more than just words. It was inspired by the composer Schubert's gravestone.
Okay.
She pictured an angel putting a laurel wreath on her head as she arrived in heaven, but with her looking surprised.
Surprised? Why surprised?
That's the key. She admitted this whole scenario was rather unlikely. It's this final touch of modesty, this slight astonishment at being recognized or rewarded, even in her imagination.
It feels very fitting somehow after this incredibly successful, high-profile life, still retaining that sense of slight surprise at it all.
Exactly. It's a charmingly humble final image for someone who brought so much, well, larger-than-life drama and fun into the world. Hashtag outro.
So when you pull it all together, what Jilly Cooper did here is pretty remarkable, isn't it? Taking this really daunting subject, death, and tackling it head on with such personality, such planning, such humor.
Absolutely. It really shows how making these plans incredibly personal, filling them with your own quirks and loves, can actually take away some of the fear. It becomes a final act of self-expression, not just a morbid duty.
Yeah, this deep dive really highlights how, for a writer especially, maybe the last story you get to tell is the story of your own farewell.
I think that's right. And she used all her skills, her sharp eye for detail, from ridiculous surveys to specific orchestral requests.
And the vital need for wolfhounds.
And the wolfhounds. She used it all to craft this incredibly memorable blueprint. It's funny, it's moving, it's practical, it's imaginative. It perfectly connects the reality of dying with the comfort she found in faith, friendship, and, of course, dogs.
It really does feel like a complete picture. The planning itself tells you so much about the life lived. So the final thought for you, our listeners.
Yeah, maybe you don't want Mahler's Eighth or a trouser suit.
Or champagne in the coffin or leaning dogs at the party.
Probably not, but think about it. What's the one totally unique, completely you detail that you'd insist on for your own send-off?
What final instruction or joke or piece of music would absolutely have to be there to capture who you really were?
Something to ponder. What would tell your story?